Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. My name is Ramia Aida Darmir from University of Science Islam Malaysia. Today I'm going to present my study on the impacts of teacher trainees innovation towards students. So this is my presentation outline from the introduction to the literature review, methodology, results and discussion, and also conclusion. The introduction. To begin with, let's look at the problem statement. So this study exists due to the tremendous shift in education, where there's development in technology and also in the world economy. This raises issues in changes to teaching and learning, specifically innovation, and thus to be in line with the education transformation outlined in the Malaysian Education Blueprint. So in terms of the teaching practicum, it's a platform to train future teachers to be ready for the challenges of the education transformation. Thus, this paper or this study highlights a study that examines innovation from the lens of the implementer, that's the teachers. However, it also centralizes on future teachers or so-called teacher trainees, as the current teacher trainees are required to develop an innovation into the teaching and learning as part of their assessment during their teaching practicum. The literature review. So there are three parts of the literature review that I'm going to present. The first one is the curriculum reform. So the first one is the Ministry of Higher Education has introduced a range of initiatives to address the challenges and critical needs of the fourth industrial revolution as digital disruptions occur every day. So the introduction of the KSSR and the KSSM are now being implemented in all schools, which inculcates more higher order thinking skills through 21st century learning approaches. For teacher trainees, therefore, they need to develop skills of inquiry and learn how to continue acquiring knowledge throughout their lives, to be able to connect different pieces of knowledge and to create new knowledge. These higher order thinking skills and the ability to innovate are especially critical in a rapidly evolving technological world. The next part of the literature review is on the 21st century skills. So studies have shown that the implementation of the 21st century education among school teachers was regarded as weak. So these studies are alarming to the education development, as teachers who have no specific training on how to teach the 21st century skills will have some difficulties to teach the skills to the students. Thus, it's important for teachers to realize that they act as key personnel in education, and thus they need to ensure that they are equipped with all the qualities and values needed to face the challenging era of the 21st century. So the classroom practice by teachers lack the activities that build the 21st century skills. Thus, this study discovered that whenever there is a change in policy, neither novice nor experienced teachers are able to transform their pedagogical practices following the new policy, as mentioned by T. NAE found that some teachers and school heads agreed that training had a lack of focus on the 21st century skills, and some of them even claimed that those skills were not mentioned specifically. Other studies mentioned by Kolo said that teachers need to be lifelong learners who can positively influence students in their thoughts, lifestyle, and behaviors. And Simmons and Saleh et al. States that teachers need to have strong educational theory and classroom management and know how to prepare their students to enter the global economy. And the Partnerships 21st Century Skills states that teachers need to know how to utilize technology to maximize teaching and learning in classrooms, develop critical thinking among students, and provide more meaningful tasks and collaborative groups to enhance students' understanding, as well as to nurture their self-directed learning. So the 21st Century Learning Framework is seen in the slide here on the screen. So, taking into consideration the aspirations outlined in the Malaysia Education Blueprint, the question arises as to whether the teacher education curriculum in the teacher education institutions is futuristic enough to cater to the demands of the globalized world. Thus, future teachers need to be equipped with the 21st century learning skills, which emphasizes the interconnection of all elements in the process of 21st century teaching and learning, so that students are more prepared for the changing world and global economy. Next, I go on the teacher training or teaching practicum. So, the Malaysia's pre-service programs appear to have a limited practical component in which trainees are able to practice their skills in schools under the guidance and supervision of an experienced teacher. For example, Ingvarson mentioned that in the teaching course for graduates prior to 2013, approximately 20% of the credit hours were allocated to practicum. In contrast, top-performing teacher education programs at the National Institute of Education in Singapore and the Melbourne Graduate School of Education in Australia allocate around 40% of the course time to this component. In the MEB, it was stated that the ministry aimed to increase the percentage of time spent by teacher trainees on practicum training to 40%. This is to ensure that teachers are adequately prepared to teach the higher order thinking skills desired from Malaysian students. And next, go on to the methodology. So the first one is the participants are third cohort students of a postgraduate education program in a public university in Malaysia who underwent their teaching practicum during the final semester. There's a number of 33 responses and participation was voluntary. So the data collection is a qualitative approach, and the research instrument used was reflective journals. So these reflective journals were divided into 3 parts, and this presentation focuses on only one sub-item. And the reflective journals were distributed to teacher trainees a month after they completed their teaching practicum. So data analysis was done through thematic analysis. So the result and discussion is divided into 3 parts, as 3 most significant themes emerged, which are attracting students' responses, improving students' thinking skills, and increasing students' understanding of the lesson. So the first one, attracting students' responses, it was found that most participants said that the students were satisfied with the learning activities, and some of them expressed a high level of curiosity in the subject taught. And innovation in teaching was the catalyst in attracting student responses and active participation in the classroom. These are proven by participant 1, participant 11, and 24. So this scenario would certainly support innovation competence among the teacher trainees, as teaching is not only directed towards realizing learning goals, but in the long run would have an impact on the students' social skills, which is integral in the development of the skills required when they join the workforce beyond school, as mentioned by Bia Bobnia, Kolaf and Lambrock 2019. Next, improving students' thinking skills. So it seems that innovation in the form of activities, learning resources, and teaching approaches would encourage students to not only understand and recall what they have learned, but also analyze and evaluate the process of accomplishing the task given. This is supported by participant 2, 15, 17, and 18. Thus, this inductive approach to inculcating HOTS in the classroom would enable students to have a greater appreciation towards the process of learning itself and towards enriching the learning experience, as stated by Cummins, 2020. The next one is increasing students' understanding of the lesson. So from the analysis, the participants were seriously concerned about students' interest and understanding towards the topic that was taught in the classroom. And most of the participants believe that innovation must be designed and developed to assist students to achieve the learning objective. And they believe that the use of innovation in the classroom will create a fun learning atmosphere that increases students' participation, motivation, and focus to learn. This is proven by samples of extracts from participant 2, 3, and 28. So these findings link to what was found by Earl and Timperley, where teacher trainees apply an evaluative thinking in order to raise various ideas of innovation. And Cheng and Muge states that innovation in the context of visually enhanced objects could improve comprehension. And Etimadi states that learners bolstered the motivation to entertain students, and innovation could assist learners to comprehend the language as spoken in various accents. Let's go on to the conclusion. So it's important to ensure the understanding of innovation among teacher trainees for an effective implementation of 21st century learning in the classroom. This research requires a deep understanding of the Malaysian education blueprint as well as how it is implemented in school. The changes in the national education system and curriculum need to be informed to all teachers teaching at government schools in Malaysia, and it's important that the findings of the study are disseminated to all parties to create the awareness and sharing of knowledge so that our future teachers are prepared with the education transformation and provided with the readiness in innovation in teaching and learning. With that, I thank you. Feel free to contact me at the email address stated. Thank you.